Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Driving Insights Podcast by M5 Management Services, where we cover ways for your fixed operations department to gain efficiency, customer retention, and long-term profitability. I'm your host, Tim Harkins, brand manager here at M5 Management Services, and on today's show, we'll discuss why customers are leaving dealership service departments and the key steps to bringing them back. So buckle up. You're listening to Driving Insights. So before we get started, did your team win the big game? Every championship team has a winning strategy, a strong leader, and a playbook for success. The same is true for your service department. If you're ready to lead your team to victory, the Complete Service Manager Workshop is your next move. This 5-day intensive workshop led by industry expert Lee Harkins will give you the tools to call the right plays in your department. You'll learn advanced financial strategies, logistical solutions, and personnel management techniques to improve efficiency, maximize profitability, and build a winning culture. Great teams don't rely on luck, they prepare, adapt, and execute. This workshop will show you how to develop strategies that drive real results, turning your service department into a powerhouse of performance and customer satisfaction. Now, there are only 10 spots left, and once they're gone, they're gone. Don't sit on the sidelines. Secure your place today at www.m5ms.com and start building your championship team. So, customers haven't just started leaving dealership service departments. They've been leaving for years, and they've been doing it in numbers that should concern every fixed ops director, service manager, and dealer principal. The decline in repair order count isn't a fluke, and it isn't an isolated trend. It's happening in dealerships across the country and markets both large and small. The frustrating part? These customers aren't giving up on maintaining their vehicles. They're not skipping oil changes, brake jobs, or transmission services. They're just choosing to go somewhere else. Independent shops, quick lube centers, national chains, they're all capitalizing on an opportunity that many dealerships continue to ignore. Now, for years, some service departments have relied on the assumption that customers will naturally return. That assumption has been eroding for a very long time. Customers don't default to dealerships anymore. They weigh their options, and right now, they're making a choice that doesn't favor dealership service. It's easy to look at price as the main factor in this shift. After all, quick lube shops often advertise $29 oil changes, while a dealership's price might be double, triple, even quadruple that in some cases. But price alone doesn't tell the whole story. If it were just about dollars and cents, every customer would be driving the cheapest possible car and making decisions based purely on cost. But that's not the case. What's really happening is a combination of factors. Convenience is one of the biggest. Customers are choosing service providers that fit into their schedules, not the other way around. They want to drop off their car when it works for them, not when it works for the dealership. They want their appointment handled efficiently, not squeezed into an overloaded morning rush. Then there's the experience itself. If a customer has a single bad encounter, an indifferent advisor, a lack of communication, an unexplained delay, they start looking for alternatives. It doesn't take multiple bad visits for a customer to leave either. One poor experience is often enough. We and the industry talk a lot about customer retention, but the numbers suggest that dealerships still aren't treating it with the urgency it deserves. If the focus stays on chasing new customers instead of keeping the ones already walking through the door, the losses will continue. And once a customer defects to the aftermarket, getting them back is exponentially harder. This is where taking a hard look at real data becomes essential. Our in-dealership consulting customer pay RO analysis helps service departments uncover exactly where they're losing revenue, which repair categories are underperforming, and where process breakdowns are costing them customers. Without a deep dive into these numbers, it's impossible to make informed changes that stop the customer bleed. Now, every dealership invests in marketing. It's a given. Whether it's traditional advertising, digital campaigns, or manufacturer-driven incentives, a huge amount of effort goes into getting people to walk through the door. But what's the goal? Well, it's to sell them a vehicle. And when that happens, everyone celebrates. Another unit moved. Hey, closed another deal. Woo! But what happens next? Too often the answer is nothing. The customer takes delivery of their new car, thanks the salesperson, and drives off the lot without any clear connection to the service department. If they don't already have a habit of servicing at the dealership, they may never return. And even if they do, they might only come back for warranty work before moving on to an independent shop. And this isn't a small problem. It's one of the biggest gaps in the entire dealership experience. The sale is a perfect opportunity to build a lasting relationship, but instead of seizing it, many stores let it slip away. A strong sales to service handoff doesn't require a complicated strategy. It just requires consistency. The introduction to service needs to be part of every delivery, not an optional step that happens occasionally. Customers should be introduced to a service advisor before they leave. They should have a business card in hand, a clear understanding of how to schedule service, and a reason to return, whether it's a complimentary first oil change or a clearly communicated competitive pricing structure. Without that handoff, the dealership becomes just another place where they bought a car. With it, the dealership becomes their go-to for maintenance and repairs. The difference between those two outcomes can mean thousands of dollars in lost or retained revenue per customer. And look at any quick lube chain, independent repair shop, or big box retailer with an automotive service center. What do they all have in common? They're open when customers need them. That means evenings. That means weekends. Now look at a typical dealership service department. Many of them still operate under a Monday through Friday schedule with limited hours. Basically banker's hours. And in far too many cases, they're completely closed on Saturdays. So here's the question. How does that make sense? Customers don't structure their lives around the dealership's hours. They structure their lives around their own work, family, and personal obligations. If they can't get their car serviced at a convenient time, they don't just rearrange their schedule, they go somewhere else. Some dealership managers argue that staying closed on Saturdays is fine because no other dealerships in the market are open either. That's just the wrong mindset. Instead of following the pack, a dealership that stays open on Saturdays stands out. It gives customers an option they don't have anywhere else. But being open on Saturdays isn't just enough. If customers don't know about it, or if scheduling is mismanaged, it won't make any difference. There needs to be a clear, well-communicated strategy. Saturday hours should be prominently displayed on the dealership's website, included in customer emails, and reinforced by service advisors. A well-run Saturday service operation isn't just about capturing overflow from the week. It's about giving customers a reason to stay with the dealership instead of defecting to the aftermarket. And with fewer dealerships taking this step, the ones that do have a major competitive advantage. Now, the traditional 9-to-5 workday isn't the norm anymore. People work flexible schedules. Some work second or even third shifts. Others have jobs that demand long hours, making it nearly impossible to fit vehicle maintenance into their weekday routine. That's why service departments that only operate on a standard schedule are losing customers. It's not because customers don't want to come in, it's because they can't. And if an independent shop can stay open until 8 or 9 at night, why can't a dealership? The answer isn't about logistics, it's about mindset. Too many service departments assume that customers will make time during the day, and that assumption is costing them business. Even small adjustments can make a big difference. Keeping a limited crew for evening drop-offs and light maintenance, rotating shifts to cover later hours, or simply offering extended service 1 or 2 nights a week gives customers more flexibility. It's also a way to smooth out the workload. Right now, most service departments experience a morning rush with customers packed into early appointment slots. That creates a bottleneck, putting unnecessary pressure on advisors and technicians. Spreading out appointments over a wider range of hours allows for better customer service and a more balanced workflow. And the biggest takeaway? Dealership service departments can't expect customers to fit their schedules. The service department has to fit the customers. Otherwise, the customer will go somewhere else. Now, if your service department is losing customers to the aftermarket, we can help. Our consultants work with dealerships to refine processes, improve customer retention, and create a service experience that keeps customers coming back. We'll help you optimize operations, strengthen customer relationships, and drive long-term profitability. Get started with a free consultation today at www.m5ms.com. Now, scheduling a service appointment should be seamless, quick, and customer-friendly. But at too many dealerships, it feels like an outdated system built more for the dealership's convenience than the customer's. This is one of the biggest friction points in fixed operations, and it's a direct contributor to customer defection. Think about the process from a customer's perspective. They take time out of their day to call in or schedule online. They're trying to figure out when they can get their vehicle in without disrupting their schedule. But instead of being asked what time works best for them, they're often given a rigid set of options. We can get you in at 7:30 a.m. or the next available slot is a week from now. This kind of scheduling tells customers one thing: the dealership's priorities come first, not theirs. Then there's the common issue of overloading mornings with appointments while afternoons remain underutilized. Service departments that book every customer for the first thing in the morning create a bottleneck that leads to unnecessary delays. Customers are stuck waiting, service advisors are overwhelmed, and technicians are buried under a flood of work right at the start of the day. Meanwhile, the afternoon sees fewer appointments, with techs waiting for work to come in. It's an inefficient, frustrating experience for everyone involved. Fixing this requires a shift in approach. Instead of pushing customers into time slots that work best for the dealership, advisors should ask, what time of day works best for you? The appointment system should be built to balance workload, ensuring steady traffic throughout the day. Customers who need quick services like oil changes or tire rotations should be scheduled differently from those coming in for major repairs. Another major factor in scheduling is how easy it is to actually make an appointment. If customers have to call in, wait on hold, and get transferred multiple times just to set up an oil change, they'll start looking for alternatives. And online scheduling should be a given at this point, not an afterthought. It needs to be user-friendly, mobile optimized, and allow customers to select their preferred advisor and service type. A dealership's ability to retain customers depends on making the service process as effortless as possible. The first interaction, scheduling an appointment, sets the tone for the entire experience. If it's clunky, frustrating, or inflexible, customers won't just look elsewhere for service, they'll start forming the habit of taking their business to an independent shop. And once that habit forms, it's incredibly hard to break. Now, every part of the service experience matters, but nothing has a greater impact than the people customers interact with. A single bad encounter can be enough to push a customer away for good. It doesn't matter how modern the facility is, how competitive the pricing is, or even how well the repairs are performed. If a customer leaves feeling underappreciated or even frustrated, they won't be back. The challenge is that customer experience isn't just about service advisors. It's about every single employee who plays a role in the customer's journey. That includes the person answering the phone, the valet who greets them, the shuttle driver who takes them to work, the technician who hands them their keys, and the cashier who processes their payment. Every interaction adds up. A customer might come in for service and have a smooth check-in, a timely repair, and a great conversation with their advisor. But if they get to the cashier and are met with indifference, that's what they'll remember. If the porter bringing their car around seems irritated or dismissive, that's what sticks in their mind. It's easy to underestimate how much these small moments matter. Customers don't compartmentalize their experience. They don't separate one interaction from another. They judge the dealership as a whole based on how they feel when they leave. And if they leave feeling like just another transaction, they'll start looking for alternatives where they feel more valued. This is why customer service training needs to extend beyond the service advisors. Everyone who interacts with customers should understand the importance of their role. They should know that a smile, a warm greeting, and a little extra effort can make a difference between a customer who keeps coming back and one who never returns. Ongoing training is key, and that's where M5 University comes in. With targeted courses designated to improve customer engagement across all fixed ops roles, M5 University provides structured training that ensures every employee, from advisors to porters, understands their role in customer retention. When employees are equipped with the right skills and mindset, Service departments see higher CSI scores, improved retention, and stronger revenue growth. And accountability is critical. Leadership needs to pay attention to customer feedback, listen to recorded calls, and regularly assess how customers are being treated at every touch point. The goal isn't just to provide good service, it's to create an experience that customers actually enjoy. That starts with culture. If employees feel valued and engaged, that energy will naturally extend to customers. If they feel overworked, underappreciated, or disconnected from leadership, that attitude will show. Customers can feel when they're in a positive, customer-first environment, and they can definitely feel when they're not. Customer retention isn't a problem for the service department to solve on its own. It's a dealership-wide initiative, and it starts with leadership. If the dealer principal and general manager don't make retention a priority, it won't be a priority for anyone else. Too often, leadership is laser-focused on sales, but service retention doesn't get the same level of attention. And the irony? Retaining a service customer is one of the most direct ways to ensure future vehicle sales. Customers who regularly service their vehicles at the dealership are significantly more likely to return when it's time to buy again. Those who don't? Their next purchase could be with any competitor in the area. The data is there. Nearly every manufacturer provides detailed service retention reports, showing exactly how well or how poorly a dealership is holding on to its customers. But how many dealership teams are actually reviewing those numbers on a regular basis? How many are setting retention goals and actively working to improve them? Leadership involvement shouldn't be limited to reviewing reports. It needs to be hands-on. That means attending service department meetings, walking the drive to see interactions firsthand, and ensuring that customer service expectations are being met. It means fostering a culture where retention isn't just something service advisors are told to work on. It's something the entire dealership is committed to. Retention also requires investment. If outdated technology, limited staffing, or inconvenient policies are creating friction for customers, leadership has to be willing to make changes. That could mean upgrading the online appointment system, hiring additional support staff, or restructuring service hours. Whatever it takes to remove barriers and keep customers coming back. At the end of the day, retention is a leadership issue. If it's not made a dealership-wide priority, it won't happen. And exceptional customer service isn't a department. It's not a task on a checklist. It's a culture that has to be built into every part of the dealership. Customers don't stay loyal because of one great experience. They stay because of consistency. They stay because every time they come in, they know they'll be treated well, taken care of, and respected. They stay because they trust that their time, money, and business matter. That level of service doesn't happen by accident. It happens when a dealership commits to it at every level. It happens when employees are empowered to go above and beyond, not just because they're told to, but because it's part of the dealership's DNA. It means making every interaction personal. A customer shouldn't feel like another repair order number. They should feel like the service team knows them, values them, and appreciates their business. Something as small as remembering their name, following up after a repair, or proactively offering solutions can create a lasting impression. Building this kind of culture takes effort. It takes leadership that's actively engaged. It takes training, reinforcement, and a genuine commitment to excellence. But when it's done right, the results are undeniable. Customers don't just come back, they become advocates. They refer their friends and family. They write positive reviews. They turn a dealership from just another service provider into the place they trust with their vehicles for years. That's what customer retention really looks like. And for dealerships that make it a priority, the long-term payoff isn't just in service revenue. It's in building a business that thrives on loyalty, reputation, and real customer relationships. Now, if you're a service manager, fixed ops director, or general manager looking to boost service retention and profitability, you need Rose Plus. This powerful repair order survey and evaluation software integrates seamlessly with your DMS, giving you real-time insights into customer trends, service advisor performance, and pricing strategies. Rose Plus helps you fine-tune your operations, maximize revenue, and keep customers coming back. Visit www.m5ms.com to learn more and request a free demo today. Now, before we go, it's time for this week's homework. We've put together a 4-part implementation guide designed to help you strengthen customer retention, improve service efficiency, and keep more repair orders in your shop. This guide breaks down key areas like scheduling, customer experience, and leadership engagement into practical, actionable steps. You can find it in the show notes and on our website, www.m5ms.com, under the Driving Insights section. Just look for this episode and you'll see the link to download the guide. So that's it for today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it and thank you for listening. I've been your host, Tim Harkins, brand manager here at M5 Management Services. As always, if you have any questions or topic suggestions, or may be interested in how M5 could help your fixed operations department, please contact us on our website, www.m5ms.com. Make sure to tune in next time where we'll talk about more industry topics that will help drive your fixed operations department to increased efficiency, customer retention, and long-term profitability. Thank you, everyone. This has been Driving Insights.